Welcome to this YouTube channel, K-Leaders. I'm Francis Chan. In this episode, I'm pleased to share with you the topic of Mandatory Provident Fund schemes, MPF. Hong Kong's population is aging rapidly. The MPF system, as launched in December 2000, is to provide a platform for the Hong Kong workforce to save up for their own retirement. Under the scheme, every Hong Kong employer is obliged to enroll their staff to the MPF scheme within 60 days of employment. Employers are free to source their MPF trustee in the market and join their master trust scheme. All these schemes are managed by the MPF trustees, and all the Provident Fund schemes are vetted by the Mandatory Provident Fund Schemes Authority, MPFA. Under the scheme, both employer and employee are to contribute to the scheme. There are two kinds of contribution, mandatory and voluntary. Mandatory contribution provide the basics under the legislation, which is to contribute 5% of relevant income for the month and kept at $1,500. Relevant income means salaries and those benefits which can be expressed in money terms. Any contribution on top of the mandatory contributions are classified as voluntary contributions. Those employees who earn less than $7,100 is exempt from contributing to the MPF. However, the employer is still obliged to make the 5% contribution. For those employees who earn more than $30,000 Hong Kong, their contribution is kept at $1,500. Those employees who age between 18 to 64, no matter they are full-time or part-time, so long as they work continuously for the same employer for 60 days or more, the employer must enroll them to an MPF scheme. To facilitate understanding, let's look at some cases. Jane has taken 3 part-time jobs, and she asked if she is only required to make 1 MPF contribution. If Jane worked continuously for each of the 3 employers for 60 days or more, then the 3 employers have to enroll Jane to different MPF accounts. This means that Jane has to make 3 different MPF contributions for her 3 part-time jobs. Jane is also a director of a Hong Kong company and receives director's fee. She asks if she needs to enroll to MPF in respect of this engagement. If Jane is an executive director involved in the daily operation of the company, then the company is obliged to enroll her in the MPF scheme. However, if Jane is a non-executive director and is not involved in the daily operation of the company, Jane is not required to be enrolled to the MPF. Susan is self-employed. She considers herself not required to make MPF contribution. This is wrong because the MPF legislation requires her to enroll herself to an MPF scheme and make the Mandatory Provident Fund contribution there too. George is expectory staff. He asked if he is required to enroll to an MPF scheme in Hong Kong. The legislation says that people from overseas who enter Hong Kong for the purpose of employment for a period of less than 13 months, or they are covered by an overseas retirement scheme, are exempt from joining MPF scheme in Hong Kong. In George's case, if his work visa is extended after the lapse of the 30-month period, then his employer is obliged to enroll him to an MPF scheme within 60 days of the first day after expiry of the 30-month period. Employers making MPF contributions can claim tax deductions, but the maximum is 15% of the individual employee's total emolument. Late payment of MPF contribution will be reported to the MPFA and will be subject to a 5% charge. Since the MPFA do not have authority to reduce or waive the charge, so the 5% charge will be imposed regardless of the reason behind the late payment. There are various provisions stating the punishment for non-compliance. If interested, you can click the link as shown in the screen to understand the details of the punishments. Other than enrolling employees to an MPF scheme, there are other ongoing compliance requirements for employers to follow from MPF perspective. The most important one is to submit remittance statement to the MPF trustee by the 10th day of each month. The remittance statement will state the relevant income and the MPF contributions made for that particular month. The employers are also obliged to inform the MPF trustee about any change of his company particulars, such as company name or contact details. And the employer also has to enroll new staff to the scheme, notify the MPF trustee of termination of employment. In the website of the MPFA is suggesting the employer to review performance of the MPF trustee and the selected schemes on a regular basis and consider to switch trustee if necessary. MPF system is the retirement protection system introduced for Hong Kong. The contribution is mandatory. As an additional benefit to staff, it's now more and more common for employers to offer more than one MPF schemes for the staff to follow. Please watch out for all the compliance requirements in order to avoid the 5% surcharge and the punishment to be imposed by the MPFA. This is the end of this episode. In the next episode, I will share with you the common payroll issues. So please stay with us and see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching this video. If you like it, please give us a like and subscribe and share with your friends. Look forward to your continued support. See you next time. Bye-bye.